Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's business success story. So, my name's Jodie, co founder of The Seven Effect, and I have one of my students here from the Business Builder. It's Kathryn Jones. Now, Kathryn's been working with me as her business coach in the Business Builder program for how long?
Late last year.
Late last year. So you're one of the 2020 students, aren't you? You sort of got in at the early, but you kickstarted with it was January.
The boot camp, yeah.
The case study.
Yes.
So actually, you did the 7-week case study, and then after that, you upgraded to the Business Builder.
Yes.
Now we're remembering. So anyway, I'm really excited to introduce you guys to Kathryn Jones today because we've already got some people watching Kathryn. She has an incredible business, and what I love about working with Kathryn is when she came to start working with me, she already had this amazing global community that she was serving. And so it's been really rewarding to be able to just basically show up while Kathryn coaches herself to the next phase of evolution. So, Kathryn, over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, that's a big question.
It is a big question. I mean, let's get straight into it.
Where do you start?
Yeah.
Obviously a Muslim.
Yes.
Here in Adelaide, obviously, because I'm sitting right next to you.
Yes.
So I embraced Islam about 25 years ago and been through so many life challenges myself. And I saw a lot of people in the Muslim world, struggling with the similar challenges and felt really called to help them, to be able to help others through domestic violence, through emotional issues, parenting issues. That's kind of where the focus is. I am an emotional and spiritual resilience coach. Well, that's what I call myself.
Yeah. And so tell us about some of the issues that you saw people in the Muslim community being challenged by.
So what I see is globally, we have a lot of issues with the oppression of women.
Yes.
We have a lot of issues with the oppression of children. So a lot of challenges in parenting. But since September 11, there's been this extra layer of oppression on Muslims.
Yeah.
And that extra layer seems to be what is the straw that's breaking the camel's back.
Yeah.
And now with COVID-19 on top of that, it's even worse because we've seen a lot of increase in a lot of emotional issues globally with this whole lockdown situation.
Yeah.
And I just see it's more like an escalation and an acceleration of these problems because of the extra layers of oppression.
The pressure is exacerbating the situation that's laying under the surface.
Yeah. So we've got all the same problems that every other community has, but because we've got these extra layers on top, it's just making it even harder.
And so I know a little bit about your backstory, Kathryn, and you almost have your own layers of oppression throughout that started from a very young age. And I will, just before we get into that, acknowledge that we've got here Tony. Hello, Tony. Nice to see you. We've also got, look, Fiona from over in WA. Hey, Fiona. Great to have you tuning in. Sue's here, as always. It wouldn't be a live show without Sue Giacobi watching. Hi, Sue. We love you. And Joe, beautiful to see you here as well. I'm still buzzing off of your plan that we did yesterday, Joe. That was really exciting. So this is great. There's lots of people tuning in to say hi. But Kathryn, your backstory with the challenges you've been through, do you mind sharing a little bit about that? And was that the thing that made you embrace Islam? Or was there something else? Or was it just too big a journey?
So, that was like, I wasn't seeing that going that direction.
Yeah. This is just the getting to know you part of it. We're going to talk about your business.
No, the embracing Islam part of it was a surprise to me, actually, even.
Yeah.
I didn't even really appreciate I was looking for something until I found it.
Okay. Yeah.
But I obviously was, because in reflection, it's always interesting in hindsight going, oh, yeah, I was. But I had like the ideal career path, going from junior programmer when I left university to country manager in Singapore of a company in 5 years. So going from
Wow.
23,000 a year as a junior programmer to, into the six figures in 5 years. My hobby was cave diving. So I was diving in underwater caves. Most people would go, why would you do that?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
To me, terrifying. I would not be doing that.
And going overseas, explore. It's the picture perfect ideal. Who wouldn't want that life?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So it seems really bizarre that in the height of all of that, I suddenly discovered Islam and totally pivoted my whole life.
Yeah. And so, what was the motivation to pivot your whole life?
Well, obviously, what I've come to understand years and years later is that all of that was my cover for what was really going on inside. That inside I was feeling pretty lost, pretty empty.
Yeah.
And so it was a very materialistic lifestyle.
Yep.
And I've discovered I'm quite a spiritual type of person. And so that part of me was probably suffocating in a materialistic type of lifestyle. And so initially I actually got involved in all these crystals things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I
You went a little woo-woo?
Yeah, we did go.
Dance with the woo-woo?
Yeah, we did a bit of Reiki and a bit of aura stuff.
Love it. That's actually great stuff.
Yeah,
I have had some pretty amazing Reiki experiences over my time.
I had a pretty scary one, but anyway, we won't go into that. That was just part of the journey. And then I met a Muslim and just was shared with me about this video. It was a really, like, we're talking VHS video. So this is 1995, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that this video even exists anymore, but it was about a scientist called Keith Moore, and he had discovered the stages of embryology in the Quran. And being someone who grew up where religion and science don't go together, I was curious, like, how could a book that was written 1400 years ago or more than 1400 years ago actually know the stages of embryology when we've only really come to understand that in recent modern science?
Yeah.
So this person that I met was heading back to their home country, left me with a copy of the Quran, and I was like, okay, I need to see this for myself, because I was such a skeptic, that can't be true, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with the Quran is it doesn't come with an index like all of my science manuals, because I come from a science background. You couldn't just look up embryology in the back and go, these are the verses to do with embryology, because that's not how it was even indexed. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll have to read from the beginning to discover these verses. There was something in me that felt like I had to know.
Yeah.
I had to know whether this was true or not.
Yeah.
And actually at that stage never actually recognized those verses as I read it. I was just reading the Quran. I didn't have any Muslim influence from anybody.
No.
And I just woke up one morning and went, this is my calling.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was
really
that's why it was a surprise for me too. Yeah.
Wow, so totally unexpected and not something you would have expected.
Yeah.
So, well, that's what happens when it's totally unexpected. It's not something, I mean, that makes sense, right? I heard myself say it. I did.
That was a very clever sentence. It's Friday afternoon.
I know, I've just raced back from a lunch. So let's talk about then your journey into business, because obviously you work predominantly with Muslim women, and it's all about helping them build emotional resilience through your beautiful peaceful parenting programs, and you obviously train coaches, and you've got a global community. Where did you start in business? Tell us about what inspired you to get into business then.
That was an accident too.
Okay, wow. So what happened? You fell over?
Yeah, I fell over. It's funny, I was in business.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that.
Tripped into
Yeah, so my history was 13 years in the IT industry. That was my degree in IT and physics.
Yeah.
And then I moved into teaching for a while. I decided IT was really hard, too left-brained for being a nurturing parent. It was really hard to parent. I kept treating my kids like they were tasks
Computers?
to tick
Oh.
off my to-do list, right?
Yeah.
Didn't work because
Yeah.
there was always something to do. You could never tick them off.
No, they're never done, those
That's
damn little
right.
creatures.
That's right. So that didn't work. So I got into teaching, and then I got into doing a graduate diploma in teaching because I thought that's the direction I was going to go. At the same time, oh, there we go. My Dan's going off in the background.
Oh, do you need that, or what?
No,
is
that's okay as long as it doesn't bother anyone else. It's
Yeah.
just the call to prayer.
Oh, okay. Does that matter? Should
No.
you be praying right now?
I've got time until the next one to pray. So
Hurry up.
No. It's fine.
It's okay. Allah's not going to get you or anything.
No, it's always best to pray as close to on time as possible, but I have all the time to the next prayer, which is our Maghrib prayer, the sunset prayer. And so, as you can see, we're a long way off sunset yet.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got time.
So we've got time. Phew.
Sorry, it just distracted me.
Yeah.
So at the time that I was doing my graduate diploma in teaching and learning and going off to be a teacher, I came across Parenting by Connection.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really the answer to what was happening in my family. So we had left an abusive marriage. I had left an abusive marriage, my kids with me. We'd gone through 6 years in the family court, and emotionally we were quite a mess as a family.
I can imagine 6 years in the family court is enough to leave most families.
Yes, it was pretty horrible. Yeah. And so in the end, I did this Parenting by Connection course. I was actually asked to come along because they had a whole group of Muslim women attending, and they wanted me to come along kind of like a cultural translator, make sure they didn't say or do anything that would offend them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh yeah, well, I'll do that to help them out. But really felt like, I've tried everything with parenting. There's nothing that's going to help me. I've read all the books, done all the programs. Yeah. After the first session, it was like, oh my God, this is it. Wow. And it's all about understanding our emotions, understanding children's emotions, and building that connection and helping our children, nurture our children through connection.
Yeah, beautiful.
And so when I finished my graduate diploma in teaching, instead of going out and being a teacher, I ended up deciding that, you know what? It's such hard work in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because students are so ratty because parents aren't parenting them very well. I need to go out there and do this parenting work so that the teachers have an easier job.
Wow.
And I thought, well, since I'm really good online, I was already teaching online, doing other things, why not teach it online? And I got special permission from Hand in Hand Parenting to do my own version of it, which I've called Peaceful Parenting. So it has that kind of Islamic feel to it. Yep. And that's kind of where it started. It was never meant to be a business or my full-time career. It was meant to be, this is just my thing that I'm meant to help.
Yeah, I love that. And, so many great businesses are born out of just a genuine, I've got a problem, I'm looking for a solution. The solution fits, and now I want to share it. And before you know it, you're rolling into business. I mean, the 7 Effect was never meant to be a business. It was just a goals. We started as a goals club, and now here it is, a business that helps other people build businesses. So, Kathryn, when you started working with the 7 Effect, where was your business at then? What were some of the things that you decided, all right, I need to get a coach, or I want to get a coach?
So I had lots of coaches who've very much helped me all along the way.
Yeah.
And one of the things I had found was I needed some time without a coach to find what it is that I'm meant to be doing. Okay. Because I had kind of been going down this path of following what they were doing instead of what I was meant to be doing. So I had been without a coach maybe about 18 months.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'd also been without a VA for about 18 months because my VA got unwell. And so when she was well, she and I were this force to be reckoned with, and things were going really, really well.
Yeah. A VA is a virtual assistant, by the way, if anyone's watching.
Sorry.
What's a VA?
Yeah.
I get asked that quite a bit, actually.
Jargon.
Yes. Virtual assistant.
Yeah, virtual assistant.
Yeah.
So I was at a point where I had got back to doing everything myself.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't happening very fast,
Yeah.
because I was having to swap hats all the time. So 1 minute I'd be marketing, another minute I would be delivering, another minute I'd be back behind the scenes doing all the technical work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was getting burnt out, and
Yep.
it was getting very frustrating because I now have this huge audience and I'm not able to deliver to
At
them.
the level you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about the same time as I saw your masterclass that was in, I think it was the Adelaide Women's Facebook group or something like
Yeah,
that. You
Women in
did.
Business Adelaide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
amazing community.
that's what I saw where I saw you,
Yeah.
and I went, oh wow, she just lives around the corner from me, because you were
Yeah.
talking about Crossroads, and I just live around the corner, right?
Yeah.
And it's like someone local, yay!
Yay, a business coach right here in Adelaide.
That's right. But I just like the concept of the case study.
Yep.
And I thought I could do with a bit of coaching now.
Yeah, great.
And I just signed up a VA, and I was just in the process of getting her on the ground. And it's just been the beginning of things just going boom.
Yeah, it was great actually, because we hadn't met before you joined the case study. And I remember you coming on and thinking, wow, okay, she's got this global community. You actually had a much more solid platform than people that I'm used to working with had. So I was really intrigued to see what you would get out of the case study. And it was amazing to see how quickly you just built an incredible community, threw out some of those, market research tasks and the call outs. And it was almost like, yeah, things just were happening super fast for you.
I needed someone like you who just kept saying one thing.
Yeah.
Because I think you're a bit the same as me, though. It's like all these shiny objects. Like,
yes.
Oh, I could do this. Oh, I've got this great idea. And I need someone who can just help me shoot those ideas.
Yeah. So the rule of 5 ones was good for you in the case study?
Exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
I've actually got the rule of 2 ones, haven't I?
Yeah. 2 houses of 5 ones.
That's it.
Yeah. So in the case study, for those of you that are watching, we talk about the rule of 5 ones, and the journey from 0 to 6 figures. You really want to focus on just one core high value program with one target audience, using one traffic source, which is usually social media, and one conversion process for one entire year. The biggest thing that holds a lot of people back, like Kathryn and myself alike, is we're ideas people. You're a creator. You like to come up with things. So that was a big thing for you, the focus and one thing at a time.
Yeah.
What else did you find was beneficial about going on the case study, or even joining into the Lifestyle Business Builder? So how has that helped you in your business?
Well, in lots of ways, I think being a part of a community, you get to a point when you're the one leading everyone and teaching everyone that it's kind of like you lose focus and sense of where you're at.
Yes.
Because you're so busy guiding everybody else. And so I just needed to be in the student seat for a bit.
Yeah.
So there's not much that you would perhaps teach me that I haven't heard before.
Yeah.
It's more about getting focused.
Yeah.
Because I was so unfocused. I was so all over the place. So especially where you talk about systems, because I'm really at that systems level, what I've been doing a lot of is creating systems, and now I've got 2 team members. I'm delegating, and then that frees me up to work on what I'm meant to be working on and what are my strengths.
Yeah.
And I've got someone who's filling in my weaknesses, which is consistency and doing all the details. Oh, it's like I can't be bothered with details. There's too many other things to do.
Yeah. So you have gone in the last 6 months. You've grown quite a bit in your business. So talk us through some of the big breakthroughs for you in your business, some of the big things that have happened this year.
I think one that is really exciting, because coming from an IT background, it was really hard to let go of the technology.
Yeah.
Because it seemed so much easier since there was a picture in my head and I could do it, to go into the system and then build it.
Yeah.
Like I could have an idea in the morning and have the funnel ready at nighttime.
Yeah.
be exhausted and a
Yeah.
horrible person to be around, but it would be done,
Yeah.
right? So it seemed to me like such hard work to have to give it to someone else to do and
Yeah.
go through all that process of getting it out of my head into their head.
Were you running on the whole, it's just easier to do it myself?
Yeah, it's a bit like parenting, you know, it's just easier to
I'll
do it.
just do it myself.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's just, but the reality is it isn't.
Yeah.
Now that my VA is she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's even gone and Googled some of our Arabic words to work out what they mean and said to me, oh, does Alhamdulillah mean praise be to Allah or something like that? Yeah. So she's been Googling things.
That's
so she understands, and she's really come to understand the culture.
She's genuinely interested to learn behind what your business does.
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
She's come to understand the culture. So she can actually design emails for me now and go, how does this sound? And it's almost starting to sound like my voice.
Yeah, great.
So it isn't easier doing it all myself. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like it. That was just a story I was telling myself. Now that I've given her most of the Kartra work. Yeah. It's just fantastic. So I think that's a big breakthrough.
Yeah, great.
Like letting go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Letting go.
And the thing was, being part of like the Goals Club and LBB was, we're sort of pushed to focus on, well, what are we going to achieve this month? I wouldn't be able to achieve those things if I hadn't let go. Yeah.
So having those monthly targets to go, right, this month, these are my 3 monthly missions. These are the actions each week. And what about the fact that we measure the levels? How do you find that? Because that's something new this year. We actually in Lifestyle Business Builder have levels from 0 all the way up to 15,000 a month. And the levels are associated to each of the elements.
I actually found that really interesting because having done business coaching before and looking at how you've labeled those levels, they're exactly spot on as to what you're meant to be focusing on when you're at that level. And even though I was at a systems level in terms of the business, I wasn't financially. When I focused on the systems, it didn't take very long for the finances to actually be at that level.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because I was already at the systems level in terms of what I'd already built. Yeah. And I have been at income-wise at that level before. It's just that because I had gone solo without a coach and a VA for so long, it had all sort of come down.
Yeah, it does. And the reality is, when you're in business, it can weigh on you heavily, and over time things can start to slip away. But it's been amazing to watch you take your vision and really level up with your team that you've built, but also the space. So Kathryn's become part of the furniture, literally. Here at the Life Design Studio, we have a spare office there. Well, it wasn't spare. It was full of junk, actually. And Kathryn was like, when are you going to clear out that space so I can come and rent it? But how is it to have an office now?
It's wonderful. I want to live here some days because it's a really interesting. Firstly, psychologically, I really stepped up in being a CEO in my business by having an office space, whereas I wasn't when I was at home, because work life and home life kept merging together.
Yeah, it gets messy.
And so you never know which hat you're wearing because you're wearing them all of them at the same time. Yeah. Whereas here it's like I come here and I focus on work. I'm not focusing on what's happening at home. And when I'm at home, I'm actually not focusing on work as much. I've had some whole Sundays without doing any work, which is very strange for me because I've been like a workaholic for many, many years now. Yeah. To the detriment of my poor kids. So they're kind of enjoying that too.
I hear you. I suffer from the same thing. Yeah.
The problem is, the reason why I'd like to camp here a lot of the time is because I'm not there all the time, the dishes and everything are accumulating a lot more because I didn't realize how much housework I was doing in between things. Like I'd go to make a coffee, not that I'm drinking even coffee anymore, but I'd go to make a coffee and I'd wash some dishes while I was making the coffee, and now the housework accumulates. So it's like, oh, stay here where it's neat and tidy.
Yeah. Except for my son leaving his dishes out.
Oh, it feels like home. So I have a 22 and 19-year-old son as well, so I know what they're like. And sometimes come in the morning to make my tea and there's the laundry all spread across all the tables.
Oh, God, I've told him not to do that. So if you're wondering what the heck's going on here, the Life Design Studio is actually a house that I purchased in a family trust to set up as a business office. our home, my family's home, is just around the corner, and we're doing an extension. And because half the home and bedrooms were knocked down, my son and I moved in here for a while. And then, a bit like Kathryn, I realized I was working till 3 in the morning, and I was like, I'm addicted. I'm moving back home.
Mm-mm.
And my son's 18 now, so he'll be all right living here for a while. But gee, I can't wait to get him out of here. Because
He's not that bad. Seriously,
he's a good boy.
He's very quiet. He goes about his business. He's just a little messy.
He's a little messy, and he likes to lay his laundry out on the tables.
Yeah,
it's like,
because
this is a training room, not a Chinese laundry.
No, but it works really well because there's the air conditioner heater that's just
he's
drying them
as
off
a
for him.
dryer.
Yeah.
So speaking of spaces, shall we go and if for those of you that are watching, let us know if you'd like a little quick tour of Kathryn's space. Shall we have a little?
Yeah, we can go into my office.
I think I can just literally pick up the laptop like this. Drop the microphone. It's a drop the mic moment.
We haven't had a drop the mic.
No, I just dropped my mic. So we're just going to head on over to Kathryn's office. And I'll let you walk in. Should I walk in backwards? Let's see if this will work, folks. Here we go. So, talk us through what we got going on here.
We've got me knocking over my table at the moment.
I'll just see, maybe if I stand like this. So, see, she's got a nice
this is my
space.
Arabian seating area.
Yes. I'm trying to
Shall I hold the mic and you hold the computer?
We're like the dodgy sisters here.
Are you all getting seasick yet?
Yeah.
So this is my Arabian seating.
Yes.
So you can come and have a cup of tea with me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I've even got the Moroccan teapot and the Moroccan glasses, so we can do proper Moroccan tea.
It does feel like going to a different country when we step in here.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
I've got my lighting all set up so that when I do my lives, you can see.
And talk us through that strange pole that we got going on there.
Oh, so this can be a backdrop.
Yeah.
But if I turn this off and pop it down, you'll see that it's a lot of cultural stuff in my room, so that the Muslim women, when they come in here, they'll just go, oh, look, we're in the right place.
Yeah, yeah.
So I sort of set that up on purpose to have a bit of a feel to it.
Beautiful.
But this pole, and the plant, this is a gift from Jodie.
My housewarming.
Yes, beautiful. I love my plant. It gets a water every Friday, so I know that
it's thriving.
Yes, I know to remember not to overwater it, just once a week.
Yeah.
So this pole, it's a bit hard to see from this way, but if I can give you the
pop it up there
and turn this around, I can have some different backdrops when I'm recording. Usually it's behind me when I'm sitting.
So just so you know, Kathryn's business is predominantly, she's got clients in how many countries across the world, Kathryn?
I haven't counted, but lots.
And many of your programs are translated into other
We're working on that. We're in
languages?
the process of doing that. We've started with Spanish. Yes. So basically I can set up backdrops like this. So I could sit here and do a live with the beach behind me, right?
Yeah,
so that's what that pole's all about.
Love it.
So this is the office.
Yeah, and so we might just sit over on your lounge here.
Yeah, we could actually get you a table there.
Well, I can hold it because otherwise it might look a bit.
We can even fix
there we go.
There.
Perfect. And so it's amazing to see how you've evolved your business. You've gone in 6 months from the pressure and the workaholicness, and now you've built a team. You've got a high-performing VA. You've got someone else that comes and works in here part-time.
So one of the local sisters, Daniela, who's a good friend, but also one of my trained coaches. She comes in. She works from home, but also comes in here a couple of days a week. And so she's basically customer care. We call her customer care. She cares for the customers.
Brilliant. You've got your own office space now, which is massive. Yeah, and I love what you've done with it. And so in your journey of business, since you started to right now, what would be 3 big tips that you would leave people with to say if they're thinking about starting a business or maybe they're in business and a bit stuck?
Okay, so if they're in business, I would say don't delay getting a VA.
Right. Don't delay getting a VA.
Yeah.
Why, Kathryn?
Because it just frees you up to do what you're meant to be doing. You can get so much more done. It means that if you have a day where you're sick, no one would know because your business still ticks along because somebody else is in the background doing things.
Yeah.
Every time I've had a good VA, things have really blossomed and progressed. Yeah, it's
Have you
critical.
had any trouble with VAs before? I've had trouble with VAs in the past, and I'm thinking maybe I'm the problem. But I haven't found a really great VA yet.
Okay.
Like a really great one.
So that probably wouldn't be your go-to advice then because of your experience.
Not mine, but I think that I've seen how it's worked for you, and I feel inspired by that to say, right, let's give it another crack. But I'd love to know any tips you have about how do you get a good VA?
Do you know what? That was by accident too, both times.
You just trip over again.
So when I first wanted my first VA, I procrastinated for about 18 months and then wondered why I had. My first VA, if she hadn't have got unwell, I would have never traded her in. I would have had her forever. Right, okay. She was amazing.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of programs that taught about how do you find a VA, and so the tips were get someone from the Philippines because the English is really good and it's cost effective. Like you can afford it early on because they can be less than $10 an hour, and so it's actually affordable early on. And so I went through what's called Upwork.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I was just going through and I was putting into my favorites all the people that I thought matched. So going with all the technology I had, who had familiarity with it. And then I came across my first VA, and the thing that I saw was she'd studied child development. And I went, bingo, if she studied child development, and at that stage I was just doing peaceful parenting, I thought she's ideal. Yeah. And she was absolutely ideal, wonderful. And so I could afford her, and I wouldn't have been able to achieve a lot of the things that I did without her. But when she got unwell...
I'll just close the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you keep going.
Yeah. When she got unwell... we just couldn't, it just didn't keep working. So then my current VA, the one, she's absolutely amazing too. She found me through LinkedIn and just sent me a message and said, and it was just at the time where I'm going, okay, I have to do this, I have to get another VA. Yeah. And I thought, well, I'll speak to her, see what she says, give it a go. And it worked. Yeah. So both times it's really been the first person that I've come across. But it was, we talk about intuition. Yeah. I do all these decisions through that, not through analysis. Yeah, right. Okay. So the tip really is just to, we'll put it out there then. There's no necessarily pragmatic top tips on hiring a VA. It's just... Yeah, well, it's good to have knowledge. Yes. Like what you're looking for, what skills that you need, what sorts of things you're going to outsource so that you know that you get the right person. Yeah. I think those sorts of things are important to learn about and have that knowledge first. But then at the end of the day, I think when choosing the people you work with comes from an intuitive place. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. And so that's your first tip, get a VA. Second top tip for people in business or wanting to build? I think that it is very important to have the right coach. Yeah, okay. You're the right coach for me. Thank you. I love coaching you. It's great fun, and I think we've got a beautiful community. Yeah, and that is the other thing. I mean, it's not just about you. We've got there's so much love in our community. Yeah, it is an amazing community, I have to say. If you are looking for an amazing community to be a part of, get in touch. And I'm just thrilled that I have a local community to be a part of, because I've been working online for so long. It's really nice to do stuff in person. Yeah. Not to be always on the computer. She loved it so much she moved in. Yeah, exactly. And then when Jodie runs workshops that I didn't join, it's like I sit here with FOMO the whole time. Yeah, because all the laughing. Oh, they're having a lovely time, and I'm in my office working. It's like,
Well, you'll be in
Should have
tomorrow's.
joined. Yeah, I know.
You're in tomorrow's. There'll be laughter, possibly tears. There's
Yeah.
often tears in the Ultimate Life Planning Workshop. So get a good coach, get a VA. What's your third top tip, Kathryn?
I think what you've been saying, and you're not the only coach that's told me this, by the way, is just focus on the one thing and do that really well. So go deep first before you go wide.
Yes. Yes, I love the way you say that. Go deep before you go wide. And this is a big mistake that I think many people make.
Yep.
I want to go wide. I'm going to try and sell cheap stuff and get thousands of people on it. But my big lesson to people is say, you know what? Let's design one high value program and go deep with a few people rather than skim the surface with many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
much easier way to build a business and
Yeah,
much
and
easier
I
way to
think
reach six figures.
the thing that we don't appreciate until years down the track and you just look back at what you've done is that every time you pivot, every time you switch something, it really is building the momentum from scratch all over again.
Yeah.
We sort of think, oh, it's all right, everyone will follow, but they don't.
No.
So I went from peaceful parenting to business coaching to peaceful parenting to business coaching now to what I'm doing now, which is the Back to the Fitra Mentoring Academy, which still has peaceful parenting in it.
Yeah.
And every single time I swapped, I just sent everything back down to the beginning again. And so there's no more swapping, by the way. That's it.
Yeah. You feel like you found your thing?
Yeah. And it was obviously a journey I had to go on. And the switch to business coaching every time was partially because my coaches at the time that I had could see that I was very good. I am really good at business coaching.
Yeah.
Because look, I coach. You see me coach myself.
Yeah. I love coaching Kathryn because she really just shows up with a question. I ask one or two things and then she just coaches herself through it. It's great. I love it.
But it wasn't what I was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
But it was also always looked attractive because it would be easier to get more money through business coaching than through what I was doing. But I wasn't meant to be doing it. So it was just that financial distraction that, yes, I can do it really well, but that's not the reason to do it. You got to do what is your calling to do, not what just because you're good at it and it will earn you lots of money.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important point for us at the 7 Effect in the first year of our business. I did do leadership stuff and it was great money and I'm good at it and I actually enjoy doing it, but I just knew in my heart it's not what I'm meant to be doing. I don't belong in the corporate world working in organizational culture.
I don't think I belong there anymore either.
No.
I don't think I could handle having a boss anymore.
No way.
And all the politics and the structure and the... No,
and so
not for me anymore.
Being free, is that an important thing to you or how do you feel about that? Because I know for me a big driver in business is freedom. Ultimately, I do what I do because I want freedom. What's the driver for you, Kathryn?
Making a difference.
Yeah.
Nice. There's nothing more fulfilling than seeing one of your clients who has been in this very heavy space for a long time suddenly show up and there's this light on their face and it's like, you got it. You've got it. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
I mean, that's the best reason for doing the work.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing with us your space, your wisdom and your experience.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. And watch this space, folks, because Kathryn's building a business that literally is exploding on an international scale. And it's just such a beautiful community that you are truly making a difference in. So thanks for sharing it with us.
No, thank you for having me and opening up your space and here so I can be a part of everything here too.
It's my pleasure. I love being your neighbour in business. All right. You have a great weekend, folks. Thanks for tuning in if you've stayed watching this long. And if you're coming to the Ultimate Life Planning Workshop tomorrow, which I know you are, I'll look forward to seeing you in the room, in the training room out the back. Have a beautiful weekend. See ya.